Discussing now a topic geared toward helping parents create a sex-positive home for their children. So here is your chance to send little ears out of the room if you would like to. Press pause, revisit later. We like to give you that heads up. My next guest believes, though, it's important for kids to learn proper sex education. She says if parents don't take the lead educating their children, someone else will. Joining me is health educator and wellness coach Stacy Goulding. Stacy, great to meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking on this topic appropriately. I know it's one that's you're passionate about.
Yes, I am. I think there's too much fear taught around this topic, and I like to bridge that gap to help parents know what to say at what time.
Well, I do think that point, what I just mentioned, is a reality a lot of parents do fear, actually, is having someone else step in with their ideas, their opinions. So part of this is getting ahead of that conversation.
Yes, and knowing that you are in charge of that conversation. Too often do we demonize teachers and curriculum, where it's really our job as parents.
Yeah, and you do emphasize it's important not to demonize. Elaborate on that a little bit. That's a heavy word.
Yes. As parents, we have this fear that our kids will engage in sexual activity too young. And so we tell them, don't do it, here are all the risks involved. And if that's the only programming they hear, we've demonized it. Where the truth is, it's a healthy, normal part of an adult relationship.
Sure.
And so we want to let them know that this is something to be excited for, that this is a good thing, so that when they are years into adulthood and into marriage, potentially, that they have a healthy frame of reference around sexuality.
That makes sense. You have 5 ways parents can create a sex-positive home.
Yes.
Starting with this, you want us to have the conversations, not just early, but often.
Yes. Gone are the days that you have one giant talk and your job's done, you know?
Wash your hands, check the box, I'm out.
Yes, it is way more effective to have these bite-sized conversations. Hundreds of them from
hundreds.
What? Since they're little kids until they're out of the house.
Are these thoughtful, purposeful conversations, or am I weaving these into everyday discussion? Because I think there is something else too about wanting to keep the topic sacred and keep it special.
Sure. I do think, though, when it comes to other values or skills we teach our kids, we say it over and over, right? Like wash your hands after using the bathroom, or be kind, or put deodorant on. They hear it so much that they really get the message. If we're only having 5 conversations, our message isn't gonna sink.
Going to resonate.
It's not. And so I think there should be really intentional conversations you're choosing to have with your kids that are a little more private and thought out. But then I think there's times to just run with an opportunity. So if you're watching TV with your kids and a show comes on with or a commercial comes on with a sex scene, most parents, we change the channel, right? Quickly, and then we pretend it never happened,
sure.
Right? But this is an opportunity, pause and say, hey, kiddos, there was some issues here. Sex is really awesome, but I didn't like that these people aren't in a committed relationship. And maybe they're both married to someone else, and that's a problem. Or maybe this activity is happening at work, and that is wildly inappropriate. And you just had this 1 2-minute conversation, and then it's over. Or you're in the car with your kids, and lyrics of a popular song catch your attention, and you say, hey, do you guys know what this means? Do you know what these words mean? And are these the values that our family believes? And they can be short conversations. They don't have to
brief in the moment.
Yes, they're less dramatic than this giant talk that feels heavy.
And that was
hard.
something that jumped out to me about your notes, is the idea that parents should lean away from the drama of it.
Yes, just talk about it.
Matter of fact.
Yes.
You also say a mistake parents make when they're trying to educate, trying to talk, is they lean into authoritative parenting.
Yes, I don't know, I think our generation heard a lot more of, because I say so, this is good, this is bad. You should just do this. Our kids need to know the whys behind what we're saying, and it can't just be because. They're way more thoughtful. They need a better answer.
And they have more resources.
Yes, they do. They have Google.
They have a Google that will answer that
Yes.
if you don't. So I appreciate that point as well. Next on your list, as we move toward creating a more sex-positive home, is this idea of celebrating bodies.
Yes, that sex happens in your body. So how you feel about it will impact that experience. So helping teach our kids that bodies are awesome is so important. But we have to be mindful about what we're doing, because we're modeling this, right? So how do we talk about our bodies? How do we talk about other people's bodies? Are we demonizing body types? Or are we, celebrating certain body types? Because they're paying attention. One of my biggest pet peeves is how we talk to young girls. When young girls enter a social scene, most adults first comment on how they look, right? Oh, cute bow, your hair's so cute, your dress. And we wonder why, as women, we feel this standard of beauty, this pressure to meet this standard. It's because it's been programmed since birth, right? So all children, but especially girls, ask them, what's your favorite toy? Who's your friend at school? Do you know any jokes? You know, what's your favorite TV show? To let them know they're more than just their body. And celebrate what bodies can do versus how they look. Like, isn't it awesome? We're all riding our bikes right now. Like, bodies are awesome, you know, where our eyes are working that we can see all this beauty. Bodies are awesome. I think a last tip is to use the proper anatomical terms for the body, because sometimes when we talk about private parts in hushed tones, our kids pick up on like, oh, should we be ashamed and this is bad? So we're demonizing it just by how we talk about it, you know?
Yeah.
So making it normal, you know, with young kids, as you're changing them or bath time, you just say, okay, let's wash your elbow, let's wash your belly button, let's wash your vulva, and just make it very casual and common.
I told Stacy I do have a love-hate relationship with this recommendation. I understand it. I followed it early as a young mom, listening to experts like you in this very setting, and to the viewers at, you know, the restaurants when my daughter was 4 who heard some words. I get it. I also, you know, is it really that tied to sexual health to be able to name a body part?
I think it allows you to have the vocabulary
Okay.
to talk to doctors, to talk to a future partner, to just not feel weird about it, you know, to be able to say, this is what I have, and not to feel ashamed.
And when you talk about the hushed body, you know, hushed private parts, what's the balance then between being upfront and open and also respecting like the privacy and the sacredness of that part of the body?
Sure, I think we teach our kids like these are private parts that we don't just talk about on the playground, you know, or we're having this conversation because we know you're mature enough to handle it. So-and-so's parents need to decide when they're ready for it. So we're not gonna just go blab about all these things on the playground.
It's the full context.
Yeah.
And we don't blab it at restaurants either, but she was 4. So I still one day hope to meet those viewers and apologize to them.
I bet they loved it. Everyone got to giggle.
They got a story for sure. Consent and boundaries, major list.
Yes. Yes, we need to teach kids they are in charge of their bodies and that they don't need to be physically affectionate if they don't want to.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of conversation about this in the last few years, which is awesome. The one thing I think we're forgetting is to have our kids practice using their words, and that skill of saying, no, I don't want a hug today, or I don't feel like a kiss today, Grandma, and letting them practice that all the way up into yelling, don't touch my body, right? And being very powerful with their voice so that if they're, heaven forbid, ever in a situation, that they know what to say.
You're saying respect that in the moment. I don't want to give a hug today. We should honor that.
Yes, we should honor that and then teach the kids how to communicate that.
I love it. Physical emotion, physical affection, you say, should be on display in a positive, healthy way.
Yes, not only with a spouse, if there's 2 parents in the home, but with your children, because if they feel stable and comfortable in your home, they're less likely to look for that validation in a romantic relationship. And we want to show them not just physical intimacy in appropriate ways, but also just healthy relationship intimacy of, thank you for this, and did you guys know that this is the reason I love Dad, and this is why we're together, and so that we can model good relationships.
Finally, you say if we want a sex-positive home, we have to be clear on our why.
Yes, yes. I've talked to too many parents where their ultimate goal is, I don't want my kids to get pregnant, I don't want them to view pornography, and I challenge them to kind of widen that perspective.
Okay.
Because I know for me, my ultimate goal with my children is I want them to have a healthy, happy relationship with their future partner as an adult, right? I want nothing more than for them to just be so happy in that relationship.
So flipping it to a positive.
Yes, and so every rule, every expectation, every value that's going to be taught around sexuality is with that goal in mind. And so it's not just, we're not going to do these things. It's like, we might not do these things because I want you to be here at some point. So it's something to look forward to, and it's, again, not that authoritarian, like just because. It's like, it's because of this, you know?
Well, thank you for your expertise.
Thanks.
You do great work. If people want more information about the work that you do, how can they get in touch?
I have a class. It's at parentsteachingsex.com.
There it is.
And you can take my class, and it comes with a guidebook to know what to say at what ages, what works, what doesn't work. And if they buy now, they'll get the Black Friday sale starting today.
All right. Stacy, thank you. Thank you so much.